A flight attendant questions a calm man's right to wear a simple cross around his neck without knowing he's Keanu Reeves. A slight judgment over a silver crucifix became a tremendous event that shook an entire flight. No one would forget what he said or how he said it when they landed. Before we leave, where are you reading this? We enjoy your reactions. Los Angeles International Airport's main hall was chaotic as usual. People ran everywhere. Kids pulled bright rolling bags. Executives frantically typed on their cell phones while checking flight boards. One man walked calmly in that crowded crowd. He wore a boring black t-shirt, old jeans, and scuffed sneakers. No designer watch, expensive accessories, or security entourage. He was Keanu Reeves. Unsure, several looked at him curiously. Could it? As if their eyes flickered. Most didn't recognize him. He strolled by like any other passenger, possibly even one who seemed out of place in such a polished setting. But one element struck out from his basic outfit. The airport lights illuminated a little silver crucifix loosely hanging around his neck. Though little and unassuming, it possessed presence. That piece felt heavier than its size. Keanu moved forward without hubris or disguise. He entered the priority line at the first-class gate and gave his ticket to the flight attendant. The boarding pass plainly showed his name, but the woman in front of him, polished stance, faultless uniform, sharp gaze, paused. Sir?" She glanced at the ticket, then at him, frowning. "I think you're at the incorrect gate. First-class line?" Keanu didn't seem surprised or offended. He replied calmly with a smile. "At the right gate." The ticket was checked again by Carla, the attendant. It was real. It was named correctly. Keanu Reeves was familiar to her, but she didn't recognize him. His casual attire, worn sneakers, and lack of star aura didn't match her first-class image. After checking his identity, she hesitated. Silent bias was evident. She let him go, but watched him suspiciously. He smoothly slipped into his first-class seat after walking slowly down the corridor like he had done this many times. But Carla watched. Something about him worried her. It could have been the contrast, the simplicity where she anticipated opulence, or the necklace, the crucifix, suddenly visible as he adjusted his seatbelt. Her gaze froze on the wraist across her face. She moved forward without speaking. And another. She followed him down the aisle with deliberate steps. Her expression became stiff and purposeful. Her inner state had changed. She lets him board, but freezes when she sees his chest cross. Her expression changes. She walks stiffly to his seat. Aircraft noise was almost therapeutic. A blur of clouds and sun-glinted roofs appeared below as the plane steadily rose. Cool air circulated in first class. Dimmed lighting suggested comfort without sleep. Keanu sat quietly, arms on the soft armrests, measured breathing. He wasn't reading or watching. He was being. In silence, his presence was more noticeable than noise. Takeoff had moved his silver crucifix around his neck, revealing it on his plain black shirt. It lacked boldness and polish. It appeared old and weathered, as if it had lived through decades of stories. Carla realized that that tiny metal piece had more weight than most might guess. She glanced into the aisle from the galley to watch him. Something about his calm, concentrated, unabashed nature as he sat there. It unnerved her. She couldn't explain why. She had worked with loud, demanding, entitled celebrities. Keanu didn't fit any of them. Still, something about him or that jewelry made her chest hurt, one she wouldn't name. Soon after, she approached. Her posture was deliberate. She'd cultivated that poise in mirrors, training seminars, and in her head whenever she faced problems. Her realm, not just a flight. She would follow its order. "Sir," she said, dropping her voice. "Reminder. We have policies on overt religious iconography in communal spaces. Please be discreet in this cabin." Keanu turned slowly, expressionless to her. "Is there a rule I broke?" The undertone of her gentle voice hardened. "It's not rule-breaking. To create a neutral environment, some symbols may divide travelers." He glanced at the crucifix. "I've flown this way often. Nobody's ever experienced trouble." She paused. The response surprised her. "True, times are changing. Some travelers are more sensitive now. We merely ask for courtesy. Maybe tuck it in." She waved vaguely at the jewelry, as if it would burn her fingertips. Keanu didn't argue but didn't comply. "This cross isn't trendy. Not a provocation. My identity includes it." Carla smiled to dissipate, not connect. "We understand and respect that. We ask travelers to express themselves discreetly, especially in luxury compartments. She used passive-aggressive language and policy. A woman across the aisle peered up, silently listening. One earpiece was removed by a man 2 rows behind. The air altered. Uncomfortable things were growing. Not loud or chaotic, but palpable. Keanu's voice was steady. "I feel picked out, with all respect." Carla blinked. "Excuse me? Would you ask someone to hide a tree star or stone pendant?" Her mouth opened. "Shut it. Reset. That's not the point." "What's it about?" Silence. She didn't reply. She cleared her throat, moved back, nodded, and said, "I'll wait." Keanu glanced up again, slower. "This necklace saved my life several times. War zones, hospital rooms, nights I feared I'd never wake up." His voice was quiet, like cathedral thunder. It filled the hall. No hiding. Not now. Not ever. Carla finally showed her emotions. "She's mad." She doubted. It broke her customer service facade. The flicker was visible to everyone. Passengers turned. Energy shifted totally, no longer unsure. People formed silent opinions. Man took phone from lap, pointed camera toward aisle. Another murmured, "Is that Keanu Reeves?" Keanu didn't notice the change. Creating one wasn't his goal. He stood still, seemingly holding a gentle border. Carla straightened again, sensing a loss of control. "If you refuse, I'll notify the captain. You act accordingly." He met her eyes with quiet strength. "Know this. My chest isn't the issue in your eyes." Complete quiet swept over the cabin. It could have been space. Nicole retreated too. She sensed it. Not just word power, but truth. Carla opened and closed her mouth. Everyone knew she had nothing to say. Keanu calmly says, "This necklace has saved my life more than once, and I won't hide it." Carla's professional mask cracks, revealing her displeasure. The flight had reached cruising altitude. Clouds moved slowly under the wings. The first-class cabin buzzed quietly. Champagne flutes, reclining seats, and silverware clinking. One cabin corner had a different spirit, the aftermath of an unexpected confrontation. Sitting still, Keanu did not move. In tranquility, the crucifix hung over his shirt above his heart. Carla returned. Her faster, more stiff steps had a new edge. She halted by his seat, lips taut, demeanor indifferent. The tension in her tone was not hidden this time. "Sir, the passengers have made some comments. Some are uneasy." She spoke in that measured voice that tried to sound objective but couldn't hide its undertone. Keanu regarded her calmly. "About what?" Carla paused. Though the answer seemed simple, she hesitated to say it. "Displaying ideological symbols in a communal space. We want to make everyone feel welcome." Keanu didn't blink. "The symbol of faith make people uncomfortable?" Short, piercing breath from Carla. "Imagine everyone wearing political pins, religious placards, and ideological slogans. A space created for unity would be divided." He leaned forward, his voice still low, but with weight and clarity. "Perhaps the symbol isn't the issue. Perhaps they have been indoctrinated to feel that way." His words outshone his voice. Sitting nearby, a pair glanced. He tilted his phone to record without drawing notice. Carla saw and straightened her posture as if to recover prominence. "Just following the procedure. If you refuse, I may notify security." That grabbed attention. Faces turned. A stillness fell over the cabin. When something real and raw breaks through monotony. Keanu remained calm. He was quiet. Instead, he looked her in the eyes and said, "Call anybody you need, but understand. My chest isn't the issue. In your eyes." Silence. Total. Carla looked at him in the sudden mirror he held up. Not judging, but understanding. The words were not hostile. They were. That made them tougher to swallow. The flight attendant behind me stopped working. The couple filmed more. A few passengers nodded silently. Though not religious or ideological, a rift was growing. Between perception and reality. Jaw clenched, Carla left silently. She didn't know, but the tide was turning. Keanu's unwavering. "Call whomever you need, but no. My chest isn't the issue, in your eyes." The first class had a different vibe. A delicate tension became heavier and more electrifying. A silent change that made people sit up straighter, whisper less, and watch more. Keanu remained seated, his silver crucifix on his chest. As truth, not a statement. It stayed put. He remained still, but all around him had. Carla stood in the galley, arms crossed, jaw tense. She was more than annoyed. She was tested. In front of passengers, she was educated to respect. Her authority was softly questioned. She felt judgment from Keanu, her team, and possibly herself. She touched her tray cart tablet. Her uniform became heavier and tighter around the collar. She breathed deeply and twisted sharply. "Nicole, join me in front." Unsure, the younger attendant blinked. "Is everything okay?" Carla smiled tightly but not genuinely. "I favor etiquette in our circumstances." Passenger 2. "A is defying a straight order. I'm rising." Nicole hesitated. "About the necklace?" Carla answered indirectly. Establishing precedent. Nicole followed reluctantly. Back at Keanu's row, some people pretended to be quiet. While reading or watching, focus elsewhere. A man near the bulkhead casually recorded with his phone on the armrest, aimed to capture the seat across the aisle. Carla rejoined Keanu, more strict. Nicole watched from behind, silent. "Mr. Reeves," Carla shouted loudly, using his full name now that she knew him, notifying the captain. "If you continue to ignore cabin expectations, we may need airport security upon arrival." Keanu gently looked at her, unconcerned. "To wear a necklace?" Carla blushed. During a flight, ignoring crew instructions? The words seemed formal and rehearsed, yet they sounded false in a quiet room. Many passengers were now listening. There was no incident or shouting, just the sense of a dispute building and the prospect of something major at stake. Nicole spoke softly. "Perhaps we should consult the captain before proceeding." Carla looked at her sharply, disapproving. It was too late. The moment changed. Carla tried to assert herself, but she showed control slipping. After 5 minutes, the cockpit door opened. Captain Morales, mid-50s, calm and courteous, emerged. You could feel his serenity before he spoke. Though deliberate, he walked to the aisle. Carla instantly spoke when he approached the galley. "Sir, a passenger is misbehaving. I've repeatedly requested him to hide a religious artifact that could disrupt the cabin. He declined. He escalated." Morales turned to Nicole after listening without interrupting. "And your take?" Nicole paused. A calm, respectful man. "He didn't escalate. He didn't want his necklace hidden." Morales bowed and entered the aisle. All eyes were on him. He approached Keanu gently, hands behind his back, like a professor addressing a smart student. "Captain Morales, Mr. Reeves, I know there's a policy dispute. Crew and passenger safety is my priority. Can I get your version?" Keanu gazed up, calm and steady. "Your attendant requested secrecy." He lightly touched the crucifix, telling others it would be uncomfortable. "No," I said. "A break." I told her this necklace has been part of my life for years, that it symbolizes survival and faith that held me together when nothing else did. "Don't wear it to provoke. I wear it to remember I'm alive." The cabin was so quiet you could hear a seatbelt buckle 3 rows away. Captain Morales heard. Keanu didn't answer directly after finishing. Back at Carla, he glanced. His voice was low and forceful. Were his words disrespectful? Carla opened her mouth but couldn't speak. He faced Nicole again. "Any aggression?" Shaking her head. "Nicole, no, sir." Captain Morales sighed, his next words laden with command. Dimmed cabin lighting. There was no rest for Carla. With her phone vibrating in her pocket, she stood behind the galley curtain in the back of the plane. She hadn't opened it in 10 minutes. She needn't. She was aware. The video became viral. Her countenance, her voice, her words, how she told Keanu Reeves to hide his crucifix. Everything was online, being analyzed by strangers worldwide. A deeper emotion squeezed her chest, not panic. Shame. Not due to criticism. Because she saw it too. She relived the moment from others' perspectives, from Nicole, from Passenger, from Keanu's. She wasn't impartial. She was unfair. She softly, respectfully, professionally judged him. So things got worse. A memory returned. Soft, worn grandmother's voice. "Kindness isn't words. Choose not to hide it." Carla concealed her whole life. Policy behind protocol, lacking control. Now there was no escape. Captain Morales spoke over the intercom from the cockpit. "Respect, inclusivity, and faith expression without shame are this airline's priorities." It was subtle but evident. Everyone knew the meaning. In seat 2A, Keanu sat calmly. Stay calm. Crucifix visible. He didn't brag, not retaliated. Maybe that hurt more than if he had. Carla shakily breathed and wiped her eyes. What she would say was unknown, but she had to say it. She left the galley. Walk to the front felt longer than usual. Polished seats and eager eyes reflected aisle lights. The cabin quieted as she approached Keanu's row. He stared at her calmly. She stopped before him. No words came, so she spoke with her body. Carla kneeled slowly. A gasp pierced the silence. "I was incorrect," she whispered. Her voice shook. "Protecting the cabin," I told myself. I was professional. I was protecting my discomfort. Eyes filled with tears. I've always concealed behind neutrality. I believed it made me powerful, but it was just blind. She regarded him. "I'm sorry." Short silence from Keanu. He stood softly and extended his hand. She took. With gentle grace, he lifted her. The applause ended. The moment lasted. Carla stood in front of Keanu, shaken yet changed. Open like she hadn't been since she put on the uniform. She felt raw, seen, and odd. Lighter. Still, Keanu held her hand. No point. Simply to be present. She whispered nearly to herself, "I can't undo my mistake." Kind Keanu glanced at her. No need to undo it. Her hand was slowly released, faced it. More than most ever. She blinks. The cabin watched silently. Nobody seemed like they were judging her anymore. They moved. Keanu indicated his neighboring seat. "Seat if you wish." Carla nodded and sat, no longer rigid and pretending. "I once believed," she whispered, "before work, before regulations and scripts, fear." Keanu Reeves chose grace over conflict, silent faith, loud truth. Flight attendant apologizes for mid-air, world watches. But Carla didn't care about the articles because something else had changed, inside her. 2 weeks later, a tiny apartment window let in pleasant natural light. Carla recorded a video on her phone. Not makeup, not uniform. Just her in a t-shirt. She held the small silver cross Keanu gave her after the flight, the one he wore throughout. She examined the lens. I thought professionalism meant hiding my identity for years. Looking down, she saw the crucifix. But this reminded me of humanity. She grinned. "Now I don't conceal," she paused. "Thank you, Keanu." First time in a while she felt whole after finishing the recording. The camera stopped recording. Still grasping the cross, she sat silently. As a reminder, not a religious symbol, courageous, of grace. The power of kindness over control,